Welcome everyone. I'm Zeffie Davy and this is my channel on YouTube. And with me is Songbird. We just started cracking and laughing with the energy of this week because it's so unexpected. Like we thought we had the video off, but the video was recording. It's just one thing after another. And just knowing if there's things happening in your life about these unexpected energies for no reason at all, things are happening. This is what this week is going to be, and even more intense because, as we know, it's been like this, correct, Sunbird, for the whole month of July. But I think it's going to continue. So, welcome. Let's talk about this energy of the week and the new moon that is coming in.
I think everybody should just go in a cave.
Or in the mountaintop or somewhere. Get away from this.
Meditate and get away from the world, turn off the TV, just get away because we're in for a ride, especially like we've talked before about the Tonopoali and the Aztec calendar, how we're in the last 2 years of the old fire. And so it's just gonna keep intensifying because all systems are clearing, everything's clearing out the old so that new can come in. And with this new moon, it's really about getting to the heart of your grief. Especially after the last 2 years, we have had one change after another change. Everything has changed and people have like PTSD from the change because it's like once you get used to something, another thing will happen and you're just like we were, just being blown in the wind. And that's just how it is. It's like the new norm they keep talking about.
Exactly. And that's what just happened to us within like 5 minutes that we've been talking before we even started the video. Like, on, off. We didn't know if the video was on or it was off. Well, and also the fires that you're talking about. Look what's happening in California. Look what's happening in Greece. Greece is burning. Look what's happening in Spain. I mean, London also burned. I mean, there's just intensified, but it's not just the energy of the earth. I think as we burning our own stuff, our own karma, our own things, also the earth is burning her own karma because she needs to release, she needs to let go of anything that doesn't serve her anymore, like we need to do. And I know we keep saying this over and over again. There's like nothing new in a sense to say, but this is, you're right, this is what's going to happen in the next 2 years. The more we release, the better our energy will be. But it's intensifying and it's like a little click for this and you know what I mean? It's just keep rising, and it's very interesting.
I know. And whenever my students ask me, like, when does this end? Because, on the shamanic path, it's just a death path, really. You just go through one death to another death to, you keep transforming, transmuting. It's a death path. That's why not everybody does it. And it's like, it doesn't end, but what ends up happening is you get stronger and you can handle whatever comes your way, and you're not like stressed out about it. You're not triggered about it. You're just like, oh, okay, this is how it is now. And I think that's what we've been in training for the last 2 years is, okay, well, now I got to move. And, oh, okay, well, now this is way more money. Oh, okay, now that, it's just how fast can we adapt to all these changes? And that's what our survival is about, because the people who can't adapt will have a really hard time.
Yes, I agree.
It's going to be really hard if you're stuck like in 2019
or even 2016.
2016 or 1980 or like people get stuck in certain decades. It's like it's 2022 now, almost 2023, and it's just like every day, like you said, the degrees, the notches, the initiations, the fire, just she intensifies because we're going through a massive purification and reawakening. And especially for, we keep talking about these divine feminines and divine masculines. Well, it's our chance to step into divinity.
Exactly. I talked about that in the last a video that I did on Woman Rising, which we're going to let you for the audience, we're going to let that on in a little while when we let it to be on YouTube. But what I talked about, it was very interesting and it was very strong for me, is that we got to release every single trauma that is there, because the divine has no trauma, what do I say? No things that get trigger, nothing. So this is what we're going towards. It's like we got to let go of this feminine and masculine archetypals that are full of trauma, they're full of pain, they're full of sorrow. And this is what's happening right now. This is the energy. I'm telling you, and I'm getting chills. It's like we're releasing every single thing that does not serve us anymore. And I tell you what happened in my own life in the beginning of the month, okay? My doggy got sick, but she's doing much better. But my mother fell and broke her hip. First chakra, let go of ancestors, releasing, okay? Now, the most interesting thing is, of course, I told you I found a place and I'm moving, correct? Finally found my dream house. But it's also where I'm going, I cannot take the same land number, you know?
Oh yeah, you got to change your number.
I got to change the lane, the land, you know, the house number, correct? Not, I mean, the telephone number, because I'm living into an island, and this island does have totally different number, totally different area code. I cannot even take that with me. And that number existed in my grandmother's.
Wow.
My grandmother gave it to my mother, and my mother kept it up to this day. And now that's being released.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
And my mother doesn't even want to move to the island, but because she hurt her hip, guess what? Now she's 88. What she's going to do? She's not going to resist me anymore. So the universe, I think what does is making you, if you resist and you keep resisting, it's going to smack you.
Oh yeah.
Somehow, either physically, mentally, somehow it's going to smack you, you know? And that's, I mean, I feel sad that my mother went through this, but she was resisting us moving. And guess what? The day before I was going to look for that house that I had a feeling inside me, that's the one, that's when she fell and broke her hip.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes perfect sense, because, you know, she needed the smack to, you know, it's almost like, especially like you're stepping into that whole new vibration.
Yep.
So everything that's not in that vibration literally falls, right? And so like you had a literal fall.
She did.
Yeah.
And then, for fixing the curtain.
Wow.
She just went to move the curtain. She stepped wrong. She fell down, hurt her leg. And the next day I was going to the island to see the house.
Wow. Ain't that something? That's just, you know, and then that's the thing too. Like I've seen that a lot with people, and in my own life is like, you know, why is this happening? You know, like in 1 month, this woman, she had like all this financial debt happen, all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, something great about to happen. And she was looking at me like I'm crazy, because, you know, in those moments where everything breaks down, every worst nightmare you have happens, you know, and you're like, oh my God, this is my worst nightmare. And then you just somehow go through it, and then something big happens, right? You get a house.
Yeah. Yeah.
A big fall of money comes in, or you meet that lover, or something happens where it's like, boom.
And that's the tower. The tower needs to fall, you know, which is our ego, which is what we think protects us, that we think our fear is, you know, the tower in the card, you know, in the tower.
The people are falling out of the building.
And fire's going everywhere.
Fire and lightning, and you're like, your worst nightmare. You know? He's been going through that.
I know, and it's fine. You know, I look at it and I'm going, wow, you know, I meditated on it, and I'm like, this is one thing after another. It's not affecting me. I'm not upset. It's just happening for us to move to the next level. And, you know, I feel sad for my mother that she had to go through it, but everything went smooth. The operation is smooth. I got the help that I need. Everything is perfect. But the universe, you know, have to smack her in a sense to say, okay, wake up. You're going to an island, which is a better life than sitting in the city, you know? And 2 years now I've been struggling to find a house in that island. 2 years.
Ain't that something? Yeah, because it's the time, man. If people got to move, they got to move. It's funny because I find that people are either who haven't been able to move, you know, because of the situation with housing that's going on, that they haven't been able to move, and suddenly something is opening now. Or the opposite is happening, where they just find out they really like where they're living and they're just settling in and nesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that's something that I think I know I've been saying that for years now, is that in these times, if you've got to move, it'll open. Like
Yes.
you're gonna go where you need to be for a while. People are finding their stability where they're gonna be for a while
Wow.
because,
Now
like you're gonna hunker down at some point.
we have to hack her down now. It's the
Yeah,
time, you know?
it's
It's
time like that. I know they talk a lot about the van life and stuff, but I think a lot of people who are even in the van life will find more stability because they're gonna find a place where they're like, I feel like I need to be somewhere where I can just hunker down for a while these changes are happening. Because then the next thing that's happening is the earth changes.
yes.
Where it was desert, it will become forest, or where it was forest, it'll become desert, and fires are going to create new
Energies.
environments.
Yeah.
Yeah, and floods. There's going to be a lot of floods.
A lot of
And
fun.
so because of the environment, people are going to have to either move or just hunker down where they are. And that's why you see a lot of prepper stuff happening, and like people are getting the message like, oh, I need to either stay here or I need to get out of here. Right. So like you're feeling like I need to get out of the city.
I've been wanting to get out of here for 2 years, but the right house wasn't showing up. So now I'm between the two gods and goddesses, like Zeus
Yeah.
and Athena, which is the balance of the masculine and the feminine. And my house is right on the point that it makes a perfect triangle. And I'm right there in that
Yeah.
area. And I'm in the mountain. So I'm not, because I always wanted a house by the water. And, with the earth changes, I just felt there needs to be on a mountain. And I'm very
Yeah,
in the sea, but the sea is all around me. So it's beautiful to see, but I'm pretty high up.
that's amazing.
So like the right house showed up, the right house showed up. So that's what I
Yeah.
mean. I think from, like you said, we got to go through, some tough things to actually manifest what we need to manifest. And
Yeah.
the universe gives it.
And like you said, the trauma,
Mm-hmm.
like everybody says they want the divinity, but you like you said, the god, can you imagine Zeus or Athena complaining?
No.
Like all the little complaining that we do during the day, or when we don't get our way, or all the little things that we do that trigger us, that get us mad, that we want our way and we don't want to compromise. The divine doesn't do that.
And the resistance that we have for the change.
Yeah,
Divine doesn't do that. They're like, okay, let's just change, correct?
right. They'll change the whole universe if they have to.
In a minute, just like that. So that's where we're going. I think that's where we are going as humanity right now, to our own divinity. There is none of this low vibration can actually exist anymore, like ancestor low vibration, because that's also holds us back, correct? Huge. So,
Absolutely.
anything needs to be released so we can get to where we need to get. I think. And I think that's amazing of the changes. And you write on, me and you we write on about talking about this new moon, because this new moon also is bringing the lion energy, the lion gate is opening. And there's just so much things coming up that I cannot even, how do you say, I cannot even talk about them, because I have them in my mouth, but I can't even talk about them because they're just one thing after another is happening.
I guess this is like a really big moon full of healing energy that people can take advantage of, that we can harness this new moon and say, okay, this is what's been coming up for me. Because what I've seen in clients this last week, especially, is emotional traumas,
Yes.
old memories, old thoughts, old patterns, parent stuff, like you're talking about with lineages and ancestral healing, like old ways of relating because of these wounds and these traumas that are trapped in the heart. That's something I came to when I was in Sedona, when I was doing my ceremonies, was like, the problem we have right now is in the heart chakra.
Yes.
Is we all have a blocked heart chakra, especially here in the West. In America, it's all manifesting as like greed, selfishness, and arrogance, all those things. I mean, they're everywhere, but in particular, like when we look at the way our society is moving, it's moving in a way of more individualism, where it's like, as long as I'm taken care of.
Yes.
Where where grandmother is going with us in the earth is collective and community.
And that's where we're going. We're going to
Where
collective.
we're going. We're going to collective, like to where it's no longer about just me and my survival. It's about how can I be of service and stepping into your real life purpose and mission, which is always going to be about the other. It's going to be about, of course, you take care of yourself, but that you also extend your heart to others.
Exactly.
And that's what opens your heart chakra.
You're right. Instead of having judgments, like, I had a client and she called me today. She was very upset. She's working. And she said to me, this woman came up to me and she was just out of her body. She wasn't grounded and she was asking me for something. And all of a sudden she turns around and I was explaining to her what I was going to give her, and she turns around and says to me, she goes, you need to lose some weight. My client just got shocked. I mean, she's a salesperson and she's a lady that's buying stuff, correct? She goes, you need to lose some weight. She goes, what do you mean I need to lose some weight? Do you know what's wrong with me that I have weight? I might be sick. I might work too much. You never know. And then this other woman next to her is like, oh, she's an older lady. Don't listen to her. And my client turns around and said, what do you mean she's an older lady? My heart right now is breaking from that. And because she's an older lady, I have to excuse her. There's no way I'm going to excuse her. I'm going to speak my truth. Enough of that excusing the other person just because they want to hurt us.
Yeah, that's those tricks.
We forgive them, but we don't excuse them. It's different.
Yeah, I know that's a it's because and I think social media too plays a big part on that, because in social media people can say whatever they want with it, but then now it's like, everywhere.
Exactly.
Everybody's got an opinion and they have to express it. But when we study like Buddhism or Hinduism or ancient cultures, you don't do that to people.
You don't hurt people.
You don't have to hurt them in that way, because you have compassion, and there are ways to say things, or you think it inside, but when you say it out loud, you can't take it back.
But why even think about it? Why you have to think that someone needs to change their life because it's your opinion? Why even think about that? That's a low vibration energy, correct?
Yeah, it is. It is. But the problem is that in the calendar that we've talked about in the Tonopoali, in the center of it is a face with the tongue sticking out.
Uh-huh.
And it represents the mouth and the swords that we use through the mouth. So the highest teaching is actually like, let your words be flowers, not swords.
Exactly. And your thoughts should be that, correct? So the words come out.
Well, naturally, if you control it, and then you're doing the internal work, you wouldn't even think that. Like some people are trained to look at the beauty in somebody. So like, those people, when you meet them, they'll say, oh, I really like your smile or your eyes, or wow, that's a beautiful dress. Or, they'll look at something beautiful, right? And then there's other people, they've trained their mind to look at what they don't like about it. Exactly. So the thing is a judgment. Oh, this, that, because it's really the judgment inside. They're judging themselves around that. So that lady who's judging her about weight is actually judging herself about weight.
Yeah. You're right. But it's, it's so shocking though for people, because they're like, I'm just a salesperson working, and she just attacked me, like out of nowhere. Why would you, you know what I mean? So that's what's going on out there. It's just people attacking each other out of no reason at all. Just no reason.
And I think that comes from loneliness, actually. I think we are too lonely. And then, how like people who never go outside, and then they go outside and they don't know how to behave.
And do you think it's because they learned how to stay alone for such a long time to close down that connection? And now because we're going to that connection and to more of like being in groups instead of individuals, that is actually showing up even more, so they can shift it, I think. Don't you think that too?
Yeah. And it's a trauma, because they say that the most wounded are the most isolated. So
Yes.
the more people become like shut in, stay in, don't go out, don't have friends, don't have family, always on their phone, that's trauma because now you don't know how to go out in the world. You don't know how to respond to people. You don't even know how to say hello anymore.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
so Mother Earth, she's going to shake it up
She is.
because there's going to be some conditions where, because nobody can live like that. No one's an island onto themselves, literally. I mean, especially on an island, you're going to notice you're going to be more tight knit because you're on an island.
Exactly. And it's kind of
Yeah.
like living in Sedona or living in Hawaii, or everybody knows each other, everybody supports each other. We have a community, and now being here in Greece, that's not really there. And that's what is getting to be created over in the island. I feel it already. I feel because there's a lot of different people from different parts of the world. They're all in the path. So we are going to create a community, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited to go there to another island. I like people. I like community. I miss my community in Sedona. I miss my friends in Sedona and the connections, but it's going to happen here too, because I think we all go to places as we need to go, like you in Colorado, because you need to be there for the reasons of your energies needed there for something. So like me, ancestral, it's family, but it's your connection. Mine is in Greece. So maybe the land also needs us to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that because when I was thinking about renting out my house and just moving here full time, and when I got to Sedona, the land was like, no, we need you. And even my friend, she was like, no, if you left, I can't imagine, what would fill that space because it has to be because we both have temple homes.
Yes.
It has to be someone who's going to be the keeper of that flame. And not a lot of people are going to be able to step into that. And so until like the right person or the right situation happens, spirit will support that.
Yeah.
That's the thing about this path is we don't know how or what or when or any of that stuff, but it always somehow works out because when you're meant to be somewhere, it will just open and it will continue to open. And that's the trust part, even though this is happening, this is changing, this is, and that's the divinity, because actually I believe divinity is stepping into responsibility, like the sun.
Oh, yes.
The
Yes.
sun, that's why I love the sun depiction, is because the sun, God, can you imagine if the sun got lazy like us humans? And said, "Oh, I'm tired today. I don't think I'll wake up." And then all the plants die. Everything on life would die because the sun just didn't step into its responsibility. And people complain about the sun all the time. Oh, it's too hot, or this and that. But the sun just does its job. It just rises and it
It did.
provides light. Yeah, it just gives without judgment, right? That's divinity. It's rising every day and it sets every day and it's on schedule.
Exactly. And we're never going to lose it. We can get up every morning and know that the sun is there. And also with the heat, that you mentioned, I'll also train myself not to be in air conditioning. I've been doing it for years, since the desert in Sedona and the humidity in Greece. And
Wow.
I don't really need air conditioning. I'm very happy with just a fan. I'm training myself to actually live with the elements, which I think also that's very important, with the sun, with the cold, with whatever the element shows up. And I think that's also that we need to start doing too, because, we cannot have things the way we used to have them anymore. Like here in Greece, in Europe, the energy situation is really bad. I mean, then we might not have natural gas. In the winter, they might cut, then we might not have heat. It's just things are happening that is telling us we got to look at ourselves and how we can live, and what with no things that we can, how do I say that, with things that we cannot live, like we cannot live with air conditioning, but we have to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's part of the inflation, right? Because only like the super super rich or something may have those luxuries. It might be that way. It might be that the massive majority of people have to go without those things.
But
Even like all the stuff we buy that's frivolous.
yeah, but you think about it, the mass, if it changes their energy and they're like, we don't need that, it can shift.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't have to be super rich. Actually, we can the super rich live the way they live, but they're not happy anyway. But that's not. Yeah.
They're the miserable.
I'm talking about like 10 people, they're super rich. I'm not talking everybody, because I don't have anything against people having money. I think abundance is good, but abundance needs to be shared and be connected with everybody. I share my abundance, even if it's, €1, you know what I mean? I share it if I have it. So
Yeah, that's what I mean, is like it's only going to be like a very small percentage of people. And, you know, because if the massive change happens, then we change the whole culture,
yes, and that's
right?
what we're going towards, I think.
Yeah, but people don't change just like willingly, right? There's like people like you who say, okay, I'm going to turn off my air conditioning and start preparing myself. But the mass majority of people don't do that. They only do it when it's like a have to. Like even here we have water restrictions because all our water is drying up everywhere. Colorado River, everything is drying up, right? And so they have water restrictions. Not everybody follows those.
Yeah, that's true.
They will follow them when they have to follow them.
Instead of like really allowing to flow with it, not to follow. Yeah, I get it. But the change is coming. I mean, people are going to wake up, and the wake up is not going to be easy. So that's where we have to talk about this new moon. And I think it's a great new moon with all the changes that are coming. So prepare yourself for the changes. Connect to the earth, connect to the mother, connect to the sun, connect with all the energies that are showing up right now, and connect with yourself. What you need to shift inside, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You
And
need to
shift and, really examine what this month of July has brought, because this is coming at the end of the month. And I'm sure there's a lot of stuff to look at and the triggers and whatever came up in your life, and just examine it and then, release it.
Yeah.
Release it.
The triggers.
Yeah, those triggers. Yeah. Anything
I
that
like
just
releasing them.
release, but look at them and say, what is it really coming from? Like, was your mother like this? Was your father like this? Is it ancestral? Is it because of the life situation that you're in? Look at it and see what that root is, so that then you can start to heal it. And, once you heal that trigger and it happens again, it doesn't affect you.
Exactly.
And then you can move on.
You're absolutely right. So on that note, we just want to say thank you so much. I love having you here, Songbird, and we're going to do this more often with the heat, or with a cold. It doesn't matter, because now in Greece is very hot. I'm sure in some places in the world is very hot and the fire is happening. So just bless everything and focus and love your life where you are at this moment. That's the key. So thank you so much, everyone. Namaste.